Well, before we air this next story, we need to warn you it contains graphic video of a deadly police encounter in Mustang. In this case, a man having a mental health crisis was shot and killed after charging at an officer while holding a pair of gloves.
At a news conference this afternoon, the chief said the officer will stay on the force. News 4's John Hayes explains why.
Please don't shoot! Please, what?
Some of the final moments of Juan Barbosa's life caught on camera.
Her actions were reasonable under the circumstances.
Mustang Police Chief Mike Wallace is talking about Officer Jazriel Wright, who you can see and hear.
You can come over here.
New video shows two angles of what Wallace says was a mental health call last August. Wright was the first officer on scene after Wallace says officers got a call Barbosa jumped out of a car and was being aggressive. Things start off friendly.
Hello. What's going on?
But the call escalates.
Don't touch me. What are you doing? What? You do this. Taser!
Barbosa is on the ground for less than a minute.
Put your hands behind your back now.
After being tased by Wright,
Stay down.
before he gets back up, Wright tries again. Wallace explains what went wrong.
Only one of the two electrical probes impacted the subject, which prevented this from being an effective charge.
Then comes a decision for Wright, shoot or don't.
Mr. Barbosa appears to be holding something in his hand. What is that?
At the time, Officer Wright had no idea what that may have been. As a result of the investigation, it turned out to be some gloves.
Despite that fact and plea,
Please don't shoot. Please, what?
Wright does shoot, launching a months-long state investigation.
Sometimes these things happen and there's nothing we can do about it, but absolutely there's condolences and certainly sympathy.
Wallace says state investigators closed the case at the end of last year.
Chief, why release this video now, almost a year after this incident?
You know, it takes quite a while to go through the process to make sure that all the investigation is done properly, and then to actually prepare these types of things. But we felt it important now to get the details of this out.
Wallace also told us the Canadian County District Attorney's Office didn't charge Wright with a crime, and she didn't violate any of the department's policies, so she was allowed to come back to work last year.
Again, I think the question goes back to why now when this has been wrapped up for some.
We just felt it important now to get the details of this out.
A bookend for what police say is a reasonable, deadly shooting. Months after everyone but the public knew this case was closed. In Mustang, John Hayes, Oklahoma's News 4.
We reached out to Barbosa's family asking if they knew the news conference was happening today and if they'd like to speak to us on his behalf. They declined to do so.
But did they answer the question whether they knew the conference was happening today or not? I'm so sick of these stories, y'all. Trailhand Bill reporting live from South Florida on a beautiful Wednesday. It is 11:55. I was looking for coverage, and I'm gonna keep looking for it so I can put a print reference in the pinned comment and description. But I just, right before this, covered a video about an officer in Miami. It's probably already out right now. If you watch all the videos, you saw it. If you didn't, you might want to go watch it, because my opinions on these two stories are going to correlate, and I did not know that at all. That's not a plug for the video, man. I don't be really with the numbers and all that. God take control. After I'm making, God is in control of what happens. So, but I don't know where to start. I was just detailing in that video that it was either a white or Latino officer that shot a darker skinned man. I hesitate to call him black because I always say I'm in Miami, we're in South Florida. Everybody who appears to be white or black isn't. You know what I mean? There are so many different nationalities down here. So you can just say darker skin, lighter skin. But and those things matter. Some people, you know, you're of the opinion. I sit in the comments and I don't knock you for having your worldview, but hey, color doesn't matter. That's your opinion, and I do not begrudge you for having it. I'm not gonna let you dictate mine, though. That those things matter in a lot of ways. They're majestically wonderful, but we're so sensitive, we try to stray away from them out of some superior morality. Like, we can't talk about this because it just draws a divide between us. Nor it draws a divide between people who run from certain truths selectively. If you don't mind truth regardless, then there's no reason you have to run from any context or conversation. And that's why I don't mind mentioning certain things, particularly race and color. But in that situation, it was that. And in this situation, which makes this so ironic for me, if that's an appropriate word, there is what appears to be a black officer shooting what appears to be a white guy. Do I think race had anything to do with this? I don't know. Would she have been as quick to shoot if he were a darker skinned person? I don't know. I'm going to say the same thing I said in that video, man. I can't pretend. I try to be objective. When you're attacking people and it looks like you're about to attack me, I don't have to allow you or circumstance to dictate how I defend myself, man. Now, hopefully I'm going to have human well-being and life as a priority in my response reasoning. But in snap decisions, like, come on, man, we all trying to go home safely. So I say the same thing in that video. In the last video, that's why I tell you, you might want to go watch it. I cannot just act like the officer was wrong. But I also can say, yes, they are wrong because this is a trained response from them. Deadly force. They don't try to go... I want to say that at the academy, shout out to Good Guy Activism for reminding me of that word. They do get training to cycle through responses. You know what I mean? Even in high intensity circumstances where they have to make quick split-second decisions. I want to say that there should be a catalog of responses that they can cycle through in their minds real quick. But there seems to be only one response in that catalog with most of them, and that is the most deadly force. Now, it seems a little contradictory because we've seen this lady try to use her taser several times, but still, I cannot say, okay, well, then she did the best thing she could do while some may. We see y'all when it's like a call. A person can call you to say, hey, man, a leaf fell on my car. 40 of y'all show up. I did not see another officer out there. It looked like there was a civilian trying to help her. Why your ass ain't called for backup, shorty? What, you ain't have time? Your people didn't hear the call on the radio? They didn't just send backup out there for you? Because I think that may have affected the situation. Now, let's just be real. More cops showing up on the scene means more deadly force and more opportunity for violence as far as Americans are concerned. But at the same time, it could also possibly present a certain scenario where, hey, y'all can subdue them. The other officer can pull out a taser or something. Just something less lethal force, and that is my problem with this video. Why do Americans always have to end up dead when y'all ass show up on the scene? Homie was clearly, whether it was because of his mental health or because he's a violent-ass person, clearly in a violent rage. How far he would have took that, nobody got to sit back and wait with their lives and safety at stake. But at the same time, it's the question for me that has the remorse in my voice. Why do Americans always have to die when y'all motherfuckers show up, fam? The journalist asked him, hey, what was that he had in his hands? Well, at the time, motherfucker, we didn't ask you to speak for this lady. You weren't there. You can't verify outside of your Johnny-splaining what that woman was thinking. But you have to back up police bullshit. That's why you couldn't answer the question straightforward. At the time, she didn't know. Well, was his life not worth her knowing before she pulled out a gun and murdered this man? No more for him? Could she not have just ran the fuck away, ran and got back in her car? That's what I'm saying. Cycle through responses in your mind, response possibilities and options in your mind, and don't land on somebody gotta die here for me to be safe. And it just be too many times when y'all don't do this, guys. That's what I got, fam. I don't think this man should be dead. I don't think she made a decision that was like a decision she had to make. I don't think she made the best decision. I think she made a cowardly decision. I think as a police officer, your ass need to be trained for situations like this. I don't give a damn what your race, nationality, or gender is. You need to be trained to respond to situations like this in less lethal ways. And y'all pretend y'all are, and maybe y'all actually are, but far too many times we don't see it play out like that, and that shit is sickening, man, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. And then this coward-ass chief gonna say, well, there is grief and remorse, or whatever words he used. For who, big dog? Because you ain't even finished the damn sentence. Did you reach out to his family and say that, or did your coward-ass just say it from a podium? Where it's manufactured and mechanical. I don't mention contextual realities when I'm talking about humans in these situations to draw divides. I mention them because they exist and they're part of the situations. And in this one, in my estimation, the contextual reality is that this coward-ass lady cop was not prepared, was not well trained to deal with high-intensity situations. And I think she and everybody culpable for her training, responsible for her being out there in the field with Americans with deadly weapons, I think they all need to be held accountable. Not with paid vacations, not with continued access to their jobs, but real accountability. And until that happens, there are going to be more stories for everybody to cover and to view and to look at and see. Are these cops just murdering us for no reason? And unfortunately, a lot of us ain't going to care until it's us. This shit hurt my heart, made me mad. I'm trying, Bill. Y'all be good. Thank you if you made it this far. If you liked the video, feel free to hit that thumbs up button. I greatly appreciate it. If you care to go a little further than that, maybe even subscribe, hit the notification bell. Check out a few of the other videos on the channel. Either way, y'all be safe.